All right, guys, welcome back for Take 4 Talk More. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Garrett.
I can't believe this, but we're already in episode 11. Sorry, it's a little delayed by a week. We were in Mexico, so we have an excuse.
We literally were like, we should film an episode there. And we're like, yeah, we're going to film an episode there.
Yeah, I know.
And then
we drank too much tequila.
You know, there was just like so many margaritas. There was no time.
Yes, no time. But welcome again to episode 11, Beach Babes and Little Jet Setters, Chaos, Memories, and Why We Keep Doing It. If you spent 5 minutes on social media, you've probably seen people trying to convince you that traveling with kids is a nightmare, or that having kids at all will ruin your happiness. Shout out to Caller Daddy and Chapel Ronan for keeping that conversation going. But we completely disagree. Sure, traveling with kids is chaotic and unpredictable, but it's also super memorable and special. We love making memories with our family, exploring new places, and watching our kids experience the world. So don't let the internet scare you. Pick up the snacks, embrace the chaos, and let's talk about why we keep doing it. Yes. But first, this is Take 4, Talk More. So we're going to do our drink of the week. And we're calling this one Tan Lines and Tequila Regrets. We, after a week of sunscreen, beaches, margaritas, and all the fun.
Sandy butt.
Yes. We are tired getting back into reality and catching back up. So we decided to do something super simple. We had some leftover Patron. So we're going to take shots of Patron. It's all in the shaker with ice right now because I did not chill it. And our drink of the week is going to be these margarita Cutwaters. If you've never had one, they're amazing. I don't love all the flavors, but the original margarita
it's good.
She bought them for me one time. I did not know that they were like 12 or 13% alcohol, and I drank 4 of them pretty quickly. Do you remember that?
I told you. I said they're called Cutwater for a reason because you will get cut.
Like, I thought that they were like, White Claws,
No,
and it turns out they're not, and I fell asleep at 5 p.m.
Can we just take a moment? That says 12.5% alcohol.
Yeah.
This is 2 beverages.
This is a lot.
2 high alcohol beverages.
Yeah, this is a lot of alcohol. So be careful with these if you drink them.
Yeah.
But first, we're going to take our shots of Patron. I did get us some limes. I did salt the rim of our glasses too.
Yay. I'm going to put salt on my lime. Tequila. At this point, though, I'm like acclimated to tequila. And it's been like a week where I haven't had tequila every day.
Yeah, we drank a lot of tequila.
So
holy cow.
I might be okay.
We might be okay.
We'll see.
Wait, we're supposed to do this.
I'm not okay.
Not okay.
Okay. I'm okay. I'm not okay. But
I like it better with the sugar.
You remember taking this at the bar when we were like 22 and it was like, oh my god, Patron.
Oh my god, I know.
And we were like, so good.
Now we're old. All right, we've got one more. And honestly, after this week of work, I kind of need it.
Woo! I need it because I chaperoned a 2nd grade field trip today.
Ooh, that sounds terrifying. Tequila is so much better in a margarita.
100,000%.
But with that, we're also going to top these off because we did 6 shots in here because we figured the Cutwater counts as 1. And we're topping it off with real Patron for the second one.
I don't think it needs extra Patron. But honestly,
is it going to kill us?
Tomorrow's, the kids are out of school. We don't have to wake up early and
I have to work.
Ugh. So do I, but not till 10.
That's nice. Yeah. Well, again, guys, welcome to episode 11. I can't believe it's episode 11.
Cheers.
Cheers.
How did we do that? How do we do 11 episodes?
I know. Oh, this is so good. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Love Cutwater.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's the problem, is that it's very, like,
tasty.
Even with the shot of Patron, it's very mild.
Yes.
Like, they do a really good job with the
really
flavors.
Do. We did not put full shots, by the way. It's about maybe a 1/3, half a shot in each one.
Just a little extra.
Little topper.
Yeah.
And I squeezed a lime in mine.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. All right. Before I get into this episode, make sure you watch the last episode because there's a funny ending. I just posted the video of my wife almost starting our house on fire.
But, we were there to save the day.
We were there to save the day.
And her dog did nothing.
Did nothing. She was
like,
laying
oh,
there.
hey guys, it's just a lot of smoke up here. I don't know what's going on.
She didn't care. The whole upstairs is covered in black smoke. What are you gonna do? But at least we know the fire
alarms are all connected.
Yes.
So if they weren't, we would have no idea.
Yeah.
Down here, we'd be like, it was really good, gabbing away, burning the whole house down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, we're moving in. All right, first question. Why do you think traveling with children is so intimidating for people, even those without children? What's the first big trip you took with your kids, and how did it go?
Okay, so answer to the first part of the question is, why do you think traveling with children is so intimidating? I feel like people are intimidated because when you're at home with kids, and if you've never traveled with them, you already know they have diapers, they have wipes. Like, depending on if they're under 2, you have diapers, you have wipes, you need snacks, they have all this stuff. So you're just like, how? And they're tearing up your own home. Like, how are you going to bring them to an airport or in the car, like, for a long period of time, and then going into these big public spaces? I feel like that scares people. Like like it takes a lot more planning for traveling with kids than it does if you're just traveling by yourself. And like if you're an adult by yourself, you're like, oh, I forgot something, not a big deal. Yeah. But it's like, oh my gosh, if you get to the airport and you have no diapers, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna pay $14 for a couple diapers. For like a diaper. They have packs. So they get you. There's no competition in there because where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? It's true. Yeah. I also think that it's sort of a societal thing. Like I think. Like part of why I wanted to do this episode, I don't love the like sentiment of like doing things with kids is like not good and like kids will ruin your life, and I don't like that sentiment, and I think that feeds into this like reason that people are really intimidated is because like they're like kids are gonna act up, right? They're little kids. They're gonna throw fits. They're gonna throw themselves on the floor. They're gonna be loud. They're gonna bump into people, and everyone is so afraid of what other people think that, especially in this like social media age, that they're afraid to travel with their kids because they're afraid that like their kids will do something and then they'll have to deal with a Karen, like in our last episode, or somebody who's gonna say something that they're a bad parent or this or that. And so like I think a lot of the intimidation comes from the fact that like it's kind of like this like cycle thing, right? Where like the cyclical thing where it's like children should be
don't have children because they're going to ruin your life. But then if you have children, because people feel that sentiment, you feel afraid to go out in public with them because you're afraid to impede on someone else's time or life. And it's like as a society, we've done a terrible job, I think, in America of making things kids friendly. And I know you've heard this before, but I went to Brazil for a work trip, and I ended up in kind of like small town, middle of nowhere Brazil. We spent a couple days in Rio, my wife and I, and then they shipped me off to the middle of nowhere Brazil to like a manufacturing plant. And I was sitting at dinner with the guy I worked with who is from there, worked there, and they have a really late culture, which I don't know if I'm into that, but
I want to be in bed by 9.
Like they be waking up really late and going to bed really late and working like 12-hour days, so they take a lot of breaks. That's their culture. That's fine. I'm happy for them. I don't know if I feel that way. But we were out to dinner in the middle of the week. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. It was like already 10:30 at night. Mind you, we're at dinner at 10:30 at night. It's late for me, but that's the culture there. On a weeknight. And I noticed all the kids. There was tons of kids. They were just like so well behaved. And my wife and I had made comments about this while we were in Rio. And I looked at him and I said, hey, like, this is crazy. The kids are like so well behaved here. It's like so hard for me to take my kids to a restaurant. Like, I have to put them on their tablet or like chase them around because I don't want them to like bother other people. Like, what are you guys doing different? He looks me dead in the face and he's like, what are you talking about? They're only here for eating. They're in the kids' room. And I was like, the kids' room? What do you mean? And he's like, oh yeah, like anywhere, most of the places you go in Brazil, like there's either one if it's a really big restaurant or they have like one for like a few blocks of restaurants.
Do you think that's where McDonald's got their like...
Oh, probably. The South American culture. Like probably 100%.
I'm wondering.
Because he was like, the kids' room, and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, oh, when we're done eating, like, I'll show you. He's like, but basically, like, you pay like $1 or $2 US, and you drop your kid off in this room, and I ended up going to see it, and it's like kind of like a small Chuck E. Cheese, right? It's got like a little ball pit or a little climbing thing, a bunch of games, and there's like a couple old ladies in there that watch the kids. They need to be, 3 or 4 and older. They can't be babies, but like you drop them off there, and then when the food comes to the table, the waiters go and get the kids to come back and eat, and then they go back to the room. So the parents like drink and eat all night, and I'm like, this is the culture I'm talking about, right? They are, and he straight told me, he was like, part of it is like they want more business in the restaurants. Well, lots of people are having kids, especially at the like drinking and eating and fun age.
Yeah.
So they do that so they can come drink, fun, and eat, and their kids are also having a ton
great
of fun.
time.
I mean, they were having a jolly good time.
Yeah.
And I think that part of what's so intimidating is that like caller daddy type of culture that we've created of like kids ruin your life, because now you're like, oh my god, if people think that, they don't want my kids around at all, so I'm not going to take them in public at all because they're going to act up. They're kids.
And so like, and that's like for me, like I was a nanny for a long time, and I'll look up like restaurants and I'll see if they have a kids menu. Yeah. And that's usually like, okay, we're good. Like, they have a kids menu. That means they're welcome. But that's their like low-key thing here is if they don't have a kids menu, that means there's children, they're not welcome there. Yeah. Which I think it's fair to have adult spaces, but I also think we 100%. Don't have enough
adult nice and kid spaces.
Yes, like a combo of like where we can eat really good food. We have McDonald's play places. I don't want to eat there on a date night. Like, if I have to bring my kids with me, my family lives cross country.
Yeah, no, you're totally...
I want to eat something nice and be with my family.
Also, like, and to acclimate your kids. Like, it's so hard to acclimate your kids to that type of environment because you never bring them. And I think, like, even I think it's Sweden or Spain, one of the other countries, like, a lot of the bars and cafes, they have a lot of outdoor space, and they're very well known for the fact that, like, there's literally a park right in front of them. And that's because like all of the restaurants share that park, and a lot of the parents, maybe they're a little safer than America. I don't know. You can maybe make that argument. But like the parents just sit and like drink cocktails or drink coffee, and the kids are right there playing. And I think we have a culture of being afraid that your kids will disrupt public. And I think we also have a culture of like just being really scared around the safety of our kids. And you know me, I've always said this, I don't think the numbers play that out. I'm not saying that every situation is safe. We should just let our kids roam the neighborhoods. But I think I think some people call it like the milk carton kid effect, where like we really started to showcase like the stealing of children and all this. So then like that's what you see on TV, but the likeliness of it happening is really low. But now it's actually lower than it was back then, but now that it's so common to hear about it, that like it makes people more afraid. So you have like the safety factor, and then you also have this like this afraid to disrupt people factor. So
yeah, there's actually a new restaurant. It's just opened up in I think it's LaGrange, and it's Happier Now. I think they have like small plates, really nice place, and they have like cocktails, they have coffee. And they have a kids area.
I'll have to look. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
haven't been there yet.
I'm a big fan. I think that's like more welcoming for families. And honestly, for businesses, like kind of probably if you're not trying to go for like that young or way older crowd, probably your best bet. Like I say this all the time, like the biggest group of people buying food right now and doing those things that have the money to do those things are people our age. And that's people with families. You know?
And okay, as a person who, what did Eric call me? He called me like an at-home professional or something. I can't remember what he called me. It was funny. But anyways, so I'm a photographer by trade, and but I only have a certain season that I can work in. So when I'm home...
No studio, so she does everything outdoors.
I do everything outdoors. So when I'm home, like, I like to eat out because I'm tired of being home all the time. So I'm like, I want to get out. My husband's like, can we just get out? Because also, like...
He works from home mostly, too.
He works from home 3 days a week. And we're like, let's just go somewhere so we don't have to do dishes. Yes. And we can just come home and get ready for bed.
Yep. We have small young children.
But sometimes it's like, well, what's open? And then it like slims down. It's like, well, there's this place, but they're like, what are the kids going to eat?
Yeah. No, totally. All right, I think this is a good one. What made you decide to start traveling with your kids early? You kind of had to.
I had to. So my family lives in like both sides of the country. But my dad and my stepmom live in Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
And her husband's family.
My mother and father-in-law live in the same town 1 mile away.
That's how they met.
That's a whole nother story. But so we lived there, moved back, and then when I got pregnant and had Forrest, we had to bring the baby. Like they came to see us and stuff like that, but 3 months old, we were on a plane. If you're traveling with a 3-month-old, make sure you have extra clothes because the pressure blowouts. They're gonna poop everywhere. And it's okay. And everyone loves a little tiny baby on a plane.
Oh yes, the tiny babies. That's what they don't tell you. Is like until they're like 1, it's really easy. It's like 1 to like 2.5, 3.5. That's really
I would say
hard.
1 to 4.
Yeah,
depending on the child.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Once they hit 4, they start to get better. I would say for me, I had to start traveling early because my in-laws, they're in Michigan, so it's about a 4-hour-ish drive. So we've had to do those long drives. But in terms of like actually traveling, my son, the first time we took him anywhere, he was only 9 months, and we did a Pacific Northwest road trip. For me, I didn't grow up traveling. My dad was a drug addict, alcoholic, but he had gotten sober for a long period of time, almost a decade. And kind of through travel is how we like regained our relationship.
Yeah.
He's the one that kind of really like maybe not afraid to travel. I think a lot of people are afraid to do some of the things I do when I travel, just kind of like immersing myself. I don't really necessarily stay at resorts, things like that. And so like I really wanted my kids to have that much earlier than I did because I loved it so much and it was so memorable for me. And it's like all of my happy memories. So for me, like it was super important that like I love it. We're going to do it. When I met my wife, she was not in, I mean, she liked to travel, but she had never really like traveled the way I do. So like the first couple trips we took, I think were a little bit intimidating for her, but she fell in love with it too. So like, why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to let my kids stop us from doing that, and they love it too.
Yeah. And because I never had we didn't have a choice. So it's just like, no, we take planes. Like we don't often drive to see relatives. We have few here. But majority of the relatives that we see, we have to take a plane to see them. And it's fine. Because honestly, it's like, you don't have to drive.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop. You don't have to fill up gas. Like, you just have to get to the airport and get on the plane and sit and wait.
But don't you also I feel like we've traveled quite a few times with our kids together.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like they do a good job.
They do great. I mean, I think it's your own anxiety about how other people are.
I don't have that.
Perceiving.
I don't give a fuck what other people
See,
think.
I'm a crybaby.
I'm like, that's not, I would say it's a crybaby. She just cares what other people think. I don't.
I do.
Maybe I should care more. I don't know.
It's yin yang.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I do.
They did great.
They did, but I do feel like most people are like worried about like other people. They're gonna get snatched right out of your arms, or they're gonna like run away, or they're gonna run into a crowd and be gone. It's like, they're not.
We did use leashes last year when the girls were really young.
We did use leashes last year.
Yeah, like the little backpack
Don't
leashes.
Be afraid. Like, don't feel shamed because
Leash
you're trying to protect your child. If you want to protect your child, there are plenty of safe ways to relieve your anxiety.
For me, it wasn't about protection because I could hold her and protect her. I wanted to allow her to have some freedom.
No,
but I didn't want to have to chase her.
Yeah, once they start walking, you think you're going to be able to just hold them? No.
I just held her on the leash, and then she would yell at me and then, like, come back. Like, whatever. People can say whatever they want, but it was great, and it worked when we needed it.
People laughed at us, but I think they laughed at us because they weren't laughing at us. They're like,
some of the old ladies were like, I wish I had that.
Yes, exactly. They're like, oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Totally.
I feel like I needed a leash today for some of the kids at the field trip.
That could be a tip for this next question. So, what are some of your best tips for raising good little travelers? For me, it's like, I know I think we talked about this in a prior episode. Like, one, I try to bribe before we go. Like, if you're really good, like, something good will happen after, and you're going to have the best time. And I honestly, like, I think that's the greatest tip because especially when they're over 4. Before 4, it's much harder. But over 4, I think that really, really works well for the kids because they kind of get it.
Yeah, they like rewards.
Yeah. And then I think in terms of, like, start early, I think is the first one. Like I said, our kids both, do really well.
If you can. I mean, sometimes people can't. Like, some people can't travel. And
And
if you start that when they're at like 18 months,
that's harder.
It's hard.
It's harder. But I think the leash is a really good one. Yeah. Rewards work really well. I think Alicia's a really good one. Starting really early. And then honestly, like, you know this about me, but travel in groups. Like, it's so much easier traveling with her kids than it is us traveling alone. Because I am not the center of attention. I do not have to, entertain the entire travel trip. They have entertainment because their best friend is there.
Also, like, my biggest thing with traveling with kids, the two things I follow is preparation and patience. Those are the most important things to remember.
I just drink a Bloody Mary when I get to the airport and we're all good.
And you don't need as much as you think you do. You really don't. Yeah. And I know if you're against screens, there's tons of other things that are small that they could pack in their bag. Yeah. And everyone gets a carry-on. Give your child a backpack. If they can walk, they can carry a small backpack and they can carry a couple diapers, a small pack of wipes.
Agreed.
And that takes something off you.
Make it fun.
Weighs them down.
Like, the less, I think you'll, like, the less stress that you show that you are, the better they are, and the more fun you all have.
Well, they trust you, so wherever you're taking them, they're going to trust you. Yes. And if you go into it with anxiety and start panicking them, be like, obviously talk to them about, like, stranger danger. Yeah. But, like, at what point do you think you're going to leave your child alone at the airport?
No.
You're not, because you wouldn't leave your luggage with your phone in it.
I mean, our kids were even, like, we bought the scooter suitcases.
Oh, really cool. Those were cool.
They were kind of doing their own, but they were fine. Like, where are you going to go in an airport?
They can't leave us because we have the money.
Yes, that's true.
So, from 5 and up, they're not going to leave your side because you have the money. You're going to carry their snacks. And the little ones are like, she has my lollipops.
Yes.
Or
lollipops is a good tip too.
Suckers.
Yes, they work really good. If you don't like
hard candy, find a candy, chocolates, small little ones.
Starburst, you got those too.
I got Starburst.
Yeah, those work good.
I paid $6.75.
We should have bought them before we got to the airport.
Pro tip: get Starburst instead of gum because then they won't swallow it.
Yeah, the little ones.
Yeah. Starburst and lollipops.
All right, this is a good one.
Okay.
What's the biggest travel meltdown you've ever experienced with your kids or yourself?
Travel? Oh.
I have one for this one.
You go first.
A few years ago, we decided to go to Florida. Kind of last minute. My sister-in-law and her boyfriend at the time had like a small house that they had purchased, and they were Airbnb-ing it, and it got ruined by a hurricane. So they ended up having to go down there to stay and to fix it. So her daughters are my nieces. They're older now. They're 21 and 17, going to graduate high school soon. So, in the high school at the time. And they were going down, and we were like, got invited. And we're like, hell yeah, like, we should go too. So, like, 2 weeks before they were going down, we buy the tickets. We're going to go down. And it's spring. It was basically spring break. We were there over Easter.
Oh, wow.
And the tickets were pretty expensive flight-wise, especially coming home. And the night flight was the by far the cheapest flight, like a third of the price. And I was like, fuck it, I'm booking it. Which meant we were going to land at 11:30 p.m.
That's so
My daughter was 2.5, if that. No, 2. Like, she had just turned 2.
Yeah, I was like, that was... Yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, because she's March.
Yeah, was this... Because she just turned 3.
It was before her second birthday.
No, then she just turned 1.
Or she just turned 1?
Yeah, because it wasn't last year because we went to Mexico.
No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Yeah, she just turned 1. Oof. Yeah. I'm like, my daughter's crazy. She's walking and all that shit by that time. So it was weird.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me.
Second born.
Yeah, second born. So we decided to go to the flight there. She was fine. She did a really, really good job. She was already walking though. Like, for context, she had just turned 1 the month prior, but she was walking. And so we decided we're going to take this late flight home. And
that's the worst
literally
decision.
Left after her bedtime by 30 minutes. Okay, not a big deal. She usually be fine. She was fine the first 2 hours of the flight. It was a 3-hour flight. Yeah. The last hour was completely miserable because she scream cried the whole time. It was way past her bedtime because she wanted to walk. So eventually, thank God bless this flight attendant, just was walking her back and forth through the aisles.
I love because was it Southwest?
I'd have to check, but I think it might have been, yeah.
A Southwest flight attendant took stage 1.
Yeah, and I thank God because it literally was just she wanted to go talk to other people. She was running down the aisles
Social.
Yeah, like she was ready to party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like I said, super, super late. She fell asleep as we were landing, which really sucked. So that was probably the worst. Like, I would go to say, like, if you have a really young child like that in the age range of like 7-ish, 8 months to like 2, try not to take a late flight. Or unless you're going like really far and you're gonna do like a full overnight, then I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, if you do like if you're going overseas, and you do one of those, that's fine because you need that day to like reset your time zones, and that's important with little ones.
Agreed. Yeah. But for that shorter of a flight like that, but like sort of long, late like that, not
if your
my
kid
thing.
does not transfer well. Avoid red eyes.
That was not it. But honestly, like outside of that, we've never really had that bad of an experience. So I will give myself that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like the worst experience I had with both kids wasn't our fault. We had a connecting flight, and our first flight out was late, and then we got stuck, and we had to rebook. So that was hard because
now we
landed, and they're like, you might make it, and they're like, they can't tell you anything. So we were running through the airport, and I can't remember where we were, but we were running through.
You were in Las Vegas, weren't you?
We were going to Vegas, but we were in like Utah or something. I don't know why we had a layover. But
why did I say Kansas City is what you told me?
Was it Kansas?
I feel like that's what you said.
I don't know where it was. Wherever we were.
She was stuck somewhere.
We were stuck. I'm blocking it because it was a long day. So when I travel, I pack enough diapers and wipes for the hours of time that I need, right? So Sage was barely one. She was like 6 months old. So I'm like, little. I need 8 diapers. And at that point, like we had got there. We were late at the airport, like our flight was late leaving, so we landed late and we were running, and the plane was right there, but they were pulling back the tube, the walkway, and I was like, and the flight attendant's like, sorry, there's nothing I can do. I'm like, you can't like open the door and let us on, like our seats are there, and they're like, no, we can just like rebook you, and the next flight wasn't for like 12 hours, or like it was hours, it was like 6 hours or something, and I was like, no, I only have enough diapers to last me the next 3 hours max. And I'm a weirdo with diapers. I don't like to let them sit because my kids are sensitive. They're very sensitive skin. So I'm like, no, and I don't want to buy more diapers because you guys miscommunicated and made me miss my flight. It happens all the time. So we ended up having to completely rebook with a different airline, which means we had to go to baggage claim, get our luggage, go back to the ticket gates, and buy our flights from where we were. So we basically like landed there to stay there, but get back in line and find whatever flight we could fit our 4 of us on. 3. We only had to pay for 3 seats, but it was so much more money.
I can't believe they didn't pay for it for you.
So they were like, well, we'll give you like a
voucher.
A voucher. Oh, you know what it was? It was Southwest, and it was right before Christmas. It was right before their systems crashed, and that's when it started. Yeah. Because their systems were like, you guys weren't your connecting flight didn't match up. We were like too late, and I was like, that's not my fault. Yeah. No. And that was the same day that everything crashed. It was really bad for a lot of people. So I kind of our account got pushed under the rug because we were flying on the 21st or something. Mm-hmm. But that was terrible to have a layover, not enough diapers, because you don't prepare for a layover. No. Or you don't prepare for
an extended layover.
A canceled
flight.
And that sucks. And it could happen to anyone.
That's true.
If you can avoid a layover, pay the extra money, because I think
it's a good tip.
Technically it would be $100 extra per person to do it straight through. But some places don't allow to, because my sister lives in Mississippi.
They don't have straight flights there.
We can't fly from Chicago to Mississippi.
Some don't have
We
direct.
Literally have to go to Georgia, and it's it's a 9-hour day, and it's a 10-hour
drive
or 11-hour drive.
I was like, drive that. Yeah. No, that's a good one. I like that. All right. What's been the most unexpected or hilarious thing your kid has done on a trip? Oh my God. I feel like for me... yes, so I think we went deep sea fishing. Absolutely not my thing. Would I do it again? Maybe for my wife and my
No, she
kids.
would pay for it and then sit on the beach and
and
wait.
drink. Yeah. Not like genuinely huge waves. Not like just. And I like being on a boat, but I'm like a luxury boat type of girl. This was like a fishing boat.
Catamaran. Yeah.
Yes, that's more my speed. But our boys are 7 and 8, and they love fish, and it's their birthday month. So I'm like, all right, I booked this trip. We're gonna take them deep sea fishing. These two assholes caught like 2 4-foot barracudas. Barracudas. They were living their best life. So the funniest thing I think they've ever done is the entire trip back from like the deep sea to where we need to dock the boat. They kept just opening the cooler and like looking at the fish and like talking to the fish and like poking the fish in the eye and talking about the fish. And I just thought that was so funny because they built some sort of core memory while I was sitting there like, this sucks.
She was like, I'm going to throw up.
I'm like, get me. It's not even I was going to throw up because I don't get seasick. It was I had anxiety that we were definitely capsizing. Like this boat was like, buzz, buzz. It was not my thing. My daughter got seasick. That was part of the problem. She's a baby, and I didn't know she gets seasick. Now we know, so we'll give her Dramamine before we go. Mm-hmm. But, like, the boys just had the absolute time of their life. I thought it was, like, the coolest absolute thing ever. And, I mean, I'm happy for them. I'm glad they really did. That's what I paid for. I did not feel that way. But they were just so fun. They just kept opening the cooler and closing the cooler and opening the cooler and closing the cooler with these dead ass fish. By the way, they beat them in the head with a stick. Our daughters were like,
but wait, when I was their age, I was 7 or 8.
Yeah,
my dad and my uncle Glenn, my
took you guys out,
took us deep sea fishing, and my dad caught a barracuda, and I remember, I don't know if he beat him in the head, but he like smacked it on the deck and then kicked it into a cooler. I was like.
Our boys could have cared less.
So when they caught the barracuda, I was like, I already know what's going to happen.
I did not. I was not prepared for that. The boys could have cared less. They were too excited they caught these giant fish. Mm-hmm. The girls were like, the fuck is happening?
Take me to the beach.
Take me to the beach. Same. With me. And so, but the reaction of the boys and how they acted after was absolutely, I think, one of the...
You didn't expect that?
No, I knew they would be excited to catch a fish, and I didn't even know if we were going to catch anything. So I knew they would be excited, but, like, I didn't expect them to be so enthralled with these, like, dead fish. They really were. Like, they would not stop looking at these dead fish. Like, they could not believe they pulled these giant fucking things with teeth. They were huge.
Okay, so
they were huge.
I didn't know. So I was like, that's crazy. We caught 2 barracudas in 30 minutes. So cheers to the captain because we were troll fishing.
Oh my god. Kenny's fishing Isla Mujeres. Like, highly recommend. I will try to tag him in our video or tag him on our like Instagram or whatever. Hold on, wait, Garrett. Oh. We have to drink the rest of this Patron.
Okay, but I didn't. You think barracudas, whatever? You're like they're kind of rare, right?
Or I've never seen one.
I wouldn't say
in
rare,
real life,
but I would definitely say like when you go deep sea fishing, that's not like the first thing you catch, and you don't catch multiple of them. Maybe, in my opinion, I'm from Chicago, so I know nothing. That's true.
Yeah, yes,
I know nothing. But then I went to the page. And all the pictures.
It's Isla Mujeres is surrounded by barracuda.
And I'm just like,
I didn't know that before this. By the way, that's probably why I regret the deep sea fishing trip.
Because I
love the beach, and now I know I'm in the water with those fucking
billions
fish
of barracudas. Barracuda.
But I don't think I've ever like read any horror stories of them like trying to eat someone.
No.
So I think we're good.
No, I think that
they look
the most dumb. Danger on that island are the golf cart drivers.
Yes. No.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Like, just because you're driving a golf cart, it's still a street, so, like, follow the rules of the road.
Yeah, there are people that actually live there, and, like, that's their home. So, like, you get pissed when someone speeds down your street. You can't really speed in a golf cart, but...
But you're
driving recklessly.
They act like they're driving on a golf course, and you're not. You're driving on streets. But highly recommend. I think this goes into the next one. What's your favorite kid-friendly destination, and what makes it great? I'll start this one. So I think any all-inclusive, besides like all adults only, I think you're gonna have like a good hit with your kids, especially the ones that have like kids clubs. We went to one last year. I'm not a big resort person, but I did it because we had young children, and I thought like, oh, it'll be easier. And I think it like ultimately, especially at their age that they were last year, like it made a ton of sense. The one I picked had a water park. It had cenotes on property. It was in Mexico. Like, I think all of those things.
Animals everywhere.
Everywhere.
Cats.
So, yeah, if you're looking for a trip with kids, look for an all-inclusive that has, like, kid-focused things, like a kid club, like a kid's pool, a kid's water park with water slides. Your kids are gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a great time
because
like,
there's alcohol at all these children's places.
Yes, and like a lot of them, if they have the kids club, you can drop, especially like kids over 4 or 5, you can drop them off for a few hours to like go like play 2. With like to go play. So like I think any of those are really good destinations. Now I'm not a huge resort person, so I think outside of that, we continue to go to Isla Mujeres in Mexico because I think it's very family friendly. It's a place where they have a lot of day trips, so the day is really busy and popping, which with kids is fun, right? Like they've got a little water park on the island with slides that go into the ocean.
So way underestimated.
It's seriously so fun. And then like they've got one of the main beach clubs is Kinha. It's got like multiple pools on this like side of the like cliffs.
It's 3 pools.
Yes.
And only one pool is for adults, like no kids.
Yep.
Only, but like the top pool has a water slide.
Yes.
To go down to the other one.
And there's a trampoline in the ocean.
And swings. There's swings everywhere.
Yes. And so like honestly, I think super family friendly. A lot of the restaurants have a lot of stuff for kids to do. The waiters are all really good with the kids.
My daughter drank some green sauce and some very spicy verde sauce, and the waiter brought her milk.
Yeah, look instantly.
Because I'm giving her water, and my husband's like, "That's an accelerator," and I was like, "I don't freaking know." And then they had like virgin pina coladas on tap.
Oh yeah, all of them. Yeah. Like honestly, like the island is very family friendly, and I think because there's a lot of families on the island that live there.
Remember when we were at the water park? The one guy was like, "Which ones can't swim?"
Oh yeah, so we go to the like water park. That's like it's like a beach club with a few water slides. And we were there a little early before like the day trip comes over because they have a lot of day trips. Yeah, a lot early on accident. That was my fault. I thought it opened. Well, according to the website, it did, but we were maybe a little out of season or not the weekend. Yeah. But the day trip didn't come over yet, and so it was really just us. And
it was so nice.
They have like lifeguards. I wouldn't say they're like your standard lifeguards, but they obviously really cared. And it was an older gentleman that couldn't speak much English, and he came up and he was like trying to ask me, and then finally figured it out. He was asking like which one of the kids can swim and which ones can't. So he knows like who to focus on. And I thought that was really, really cool that he was asking that question because clearly he cared to make sure that they weren't going to drown. Not that the water was very deep there, but
yeah, he followed Sage around. Yeah. Like
I told him, I said, all the kids swim. This one, no swim.
And he's like, oh, okay. And we went down a water slide, the big ones for like adults into the water. And even though Eric was there, it was nice because like that man stood at the dock and just like, just watched and was like, no, you can't go here because she tried to like walk towards us. Yep. But he like kept her safe and like
away from the
guided
deep
her
water.
Back towards the sand, and that was really nice. Like everyone there was definitely like they loved the kids and they were friendly. So gentle and friendly and.
No, they're really great.
I can't wait to go back.
No, honestly, I would say Isla Mujeres is a great place to take kids. I think I'll throw one more shout out since I know we talk a lot about Isla and Mexico and all inclusives in general, but I went to Montreal for a work trip. I have not taken my family there. I'm planned to actually this summer. I'm thinking I'm going to try. Yeah. But I went for a work trip and I've again similar to Brazil, and I would love to take my kids to Brazil, but this is a 15-hour flight for us. So long. This is a little while away for me, but. Montreal is not, and it feels like little Paris, and everything was built around families. Like, the whole downtown was so family orientated. Like, it was awesome. I couldn't have expected more. Like, even the restaurant, like, I sat at to drink a glass of wine by myself. I was sitting there, and there was, like, little areas for kids, and then they have, like, all, like, their, like, boardwalk type thing, like, with the river, had, like, amusement rides, like, zip lining for kids. Like, just everything is really set up for kids there. And I had brought that up with the guys I work with that live and work out there. And they were like, oh, yeah, like, everyone has kids. Like, they all bring their kids around. And I was like, again, different from that culture in America. And I would love to take my kids there because it was so pretty. Felt like you were in Paris, and it's only like a 2.5-hour flight for us.
Is that
maybe even less. No, it was literally awesome.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I think we should. I think that should be our next trip. Maybe we drive because it'll be cheaper with a big group.
What my car already thinks that I live in Canada because every time I get in and plug in my GPS, it tags me in some
Ever find your
random
friends?
ass forest in Ontario.
It's true.
I
All
don't
right.
know why that is.
I think this is a good one.
Which one?
What do you look for when picking a vacation spot with kids? You brought up a good one, the kids menu.
Kids menu.
I think that's, like, honestly, hashtag kids menu. If they have a kids menu, they're obviously kids welcome.
And that's just, like, local stuff, right?
But I think that goes for, like, vacation, too. Like, if you're going to, not even an all-inclusive, but a resort, like, I think you could easily look up the resort restaurants. Like, the Atlantis in the Bahamas is not an all-inclusive. It's a huge, very well-known, famous resort. Maybe look up if, I know they do because they have water slides and I've been there, but look up, like, do they have a kids menu at the resort you're going? You know, if it's not adults only, but it doesn't have a kids menu, maybe it's not super kid friendly.
Yeah. You might feel a little, like, out of place.
I also look for something that's safe. Like, particularly for me, this might not pertain to you as much, but, like, we're a gay family, 2 moms, and we also have, our daughter is adopted, she's Black, and so, like, clearly doesn't, like, Bryson could pass, well, he is biologically mine, could easily pass as biologically Deidre's, and my wife probably could pass for a boy in certain circumstances if she keeps her mouth closed because she sounds like one. So, like, I think in some instances with us 3 it'd be fine. But then if you add Emmy on top of it, it's clear that we are not your average family. And so, like, I'm very cognizant when I book trips or things like that of, like, where I'm going to go. Not to say that, like, I wouldn't love to go somewhere like Turkey. Of course I would. But they don't necessarily take my marriage license into consideration. And my marriage license is what upholds my adoption certificate with my daughter. And if something were to happen, it could, you know, potentially be not great for us because what kind of hold would we have in another country like that? So would I go there with my family? Absolutely not. I absolutely would not take...
There's no appeal to it.
I would not take that risk. Like, if I had to go there for work and I was going to go visit myself, sure, I could pass any day, not a problem. But I think for me, like, I'm very cognizant of the places I take my children because a lot of countries that don't have gay marriage legalized, they don't necessarily, like, they kind of have to abide by, like, the adoption paperwork that I have from the U.S., but theoretically, if they didn't want to because something happened, they wouldn't have to.
Yeah, they don't have.
Yeah, and there's other countries like,
you don't have that kind of protection.
Yeah, like Iran, I
everywhere.
absolutely wouldn't go to because they should flat out say they wouldn't support that, right? So, like, I don't want to be questioned in that or have my kid taken away because I go to the wrong place, wrong time, type of thing. So, like, I'm very cognizant of that, I think, and that's really important for, I think, most families. So, like, really looking into places that are safe. And when I see, do I go places that are a little shady? Yes. I'm not.
Isla is completely safe.
No, Isla is completely safe. But I traveled the whole country of Panama, and I went to a couple places like where like my dad and I got robbed at one point. We read the things not to go to this beach without a tour guide, and decided to anyways, and we did. But like we just gave them some money, and then they went away. Like, but would I recommend that for the average person? Probably not. No. So like I think looking at those things and kind of following what other people say is probably smart with the family.
Yeah, I mean, ask people, like, where they enjoyed to go with their families.
Yes.
And try it.
And I think finances is really important.
Yeah.
Like, I think really reading and then, like, researching and understanding the cost with kids. Because, like, the worst thing I think you could possibly do is take a kid to, like, Disney World and not understand that it costs $800 million. Like, you're better off going to an all-inclusive in Mexico with them. They're going to have a better time than going there and then trying to, like, severely, like, limit and budget yourself. And that goes for anywhere. Like, you're going to book a trip to, say, Wisconsin Dells. I think is another one. Midwest, great thing to do.
That's but it can be Disney.
Yeah, a great thing to do.
That's
but it can be
Disney.
Yeah, it can be really pricey. And it's like, okay, like, if you want to plan a cheaper trip, then plan a cheaper trip. Like, plan yourself to stay at one of the cheaper hotels or stay at a campground and do, like, one day at a water park versus, like, staying at Kalahari and then trying to stay, like, really tight in a budget because you spend, you know, $500 per night on a hotel room. Like, I would recommend not doing that. I think yes, it could be fun, but for me, I feel like I'd rather stay in a cheaper place and spend more money doing fun things. That's just my opinion.
There's
with kids.
The destination has, like, the area around it has a lot more to offer. And you should definitely explore those options. Don't trap yourself in a bubble.
Yes.
And if you're going to an all-inclusive, look, where is the all-inclusive? Because if it's on an island, you don't have to stay in the all-inclusive. Like, go explore.
Yeah, oh, you totally can.
Because there's an all-inclusive on Isla.
Yeah,
and
no,
people
they're all
on
over
the page
Mexico.
are like, should we leave?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Honestly,
go explore.
Most of Mexico around the resorts are pretty safe.
But if you're at the Eco Resort in Cancun,
you don't need to.
Stay.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're going to go shopping? You're going to
Watch the day trips, though.
Because the day trippers.
Watch the day trip. So we did a day trip when we went to Isla in 2019 with Bryson. Emmy wasn't born yet. And we just, like, didn't really calculate the fact that, with all the travel and everything, it was going to be, 12 hours. It was a long day trip. So just, with kids, watch how long.
Day trips,
if you see the tour trip and it's, 6-hour tour. Okay, does that include getting there and getting back?
From where you are.
Yes.
How long does it take to get to the day trip?
That's basically what happened. We took a 5-hour day trip, and it was a private day trip, but we were on the island. This was a Cancun day trip. So we had to drive our golf carts to the ferry, get on the ferry, that's 30 minutes, then take transportation an hour to get to the place. So now at this point, you're 2 hours in. Now we stay 5 hours, and then to get back, it was 2 hours.
No, thank you.
So, you're talking 9 hours. Just make sure that when you book a trip, it's including all of that, because I just really didn't think about that.
That falls into preparation.
Yes.
Prep. And patience. Take your time.
This one's probably for you, not for me. What's the one thing you always pack when traveling with kids?
Oh... a charge cord.
Yes, charger. Well, I think
we do tablets. Make sure. So for me, but when I'm home before we leave, I download. We do screens. Okay, I don't care.
Especially when you're on a plane. For us, it's fine.
It catches their.
I don't think we overdo screens. We both kind of really don't do screens on school nights.
I kind of just it is
weekends.
They're not addicted to it. It's just part of their normal life. My husband is in security, so there's constant phone screens.
You know me, I'm of the mindset of if you don't allow them to have it, that's all they're gonna want.
Exactly.
And so you help them. I do believe that screens are addictive. I mean, I'm addicted to mine.
For sure.
And I think that the way we do it, I think we do it really similarly, where you monitor it, you don't allow it all the time. There's time limits on it.
Yeah,
to where we're teaching them. Yeah, we're teaching them how to have it within reason. Not have it all the time, but not never have it, so then when they get it, they don't want to let it go.
Yeah, so I always make sure so if the flight's 3.5 hours.
Yep.
I would prefer at least 4 hours of
stuff.
A movie, a couple episodes of, but not all the same thing. Because he's not going to watch one movie the whole flight.
Yes.
He's going to be I'm bored of this movie. I want to watch this. Games that'll keep him occupied.
Yep.
Headphones to keep him isolated in the sound. Lollipops,
I think.
Or Starburst.
Gum. Yes.
I like gum, but...
for the little ones, it's harder.
Sometimes people don't do gum for kids. Technically, you're not supposed to have gum if you're under the age of 5.
Something like that. I don't know, my kids. My daughter just swallows and laughs.
Sage doesn't swallow her gum. She spits it out, which
That's
is
good.
Great.
My daughter purposely swallows it and then laughs at me. But I can't not give it to her.
Sage
because
takes
her
it out and
does
goes like this.
And her brother just gives it to her.
Stretches it out and then puts it down. And I'm like,
ugh, I wish Emmy would do that.
Okay.
Emmy thinks it's funny.
But I feel like that and snacks. I like to do little
snacks
bags.
Are good. Yes.
Wait.
This is
lots
big.
of little bags.
Garrett is spot on. Garrett did a ton of snacks for us this past trip. And we had gone in September with our family, me and Deidre, my wife. And it's a really long travel day with the drive to the airport, the tram, the flight, the shuttle, the ferry, the golf cart ride finally to the house. Very long travel day. 12 to 13 hour travel day to get there. And we were starving when we finally got there. So this time I brought the
Uncrustables.
Total win. Like, fed the kids,
Remember,
like,
3
a
ounces.
late lunch. Yeah. Like, a late lunch. So, like, by the time we got there, we went and were able to get food for the kids, and, like, they weren't dying.
Yeah, food is important. Little snacks are important. And I like to make these, it's a gallon-sized Ziploc bag.
Mm-hmm.
You put different things in there. You cannot use wrapping paper. I know I've seen influencers and things like that, like, oh, I'm going to wrap it so they have something to unwrap. That's great for a road trip. That's awesome for a road trip. Not for playing. TSA hates that. They will make you unwrap it.
Yeah.
If you're unlucky. Sometimes maybe they're not. I don't know.
Yeah. Depends.
But
not worth
like,
the risk.
lots of, like, make it a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just, like, pour all the snacks into, like, make it weird.
Yes.
Like, tape the fruit roll-up thing inside of the coloring
and just
book.
different things that they're not used to, I think, were kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, also, yeah.
I did Pop Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
They love
Pop
that.
Rocks was a great idea.
Yeah.
And the lollipops with the Pop Rocks.
Yeah, dip them in. The kids love
Listen,
it.
if you're doing a 3-hour flight, they're not going to get a cavity from the bag of candy you get them. Brush their teeth when you get to the hotel or wherever you're going, if that.
No, totally agree. I think another one for me this trip, especially we had younger girls, our girls are potty training still, was underwear. Making sure we had enough underwear, I think, was a big one. Yeah.
Potty training, I feel like if Sage was a little further along, I would have put her in the underwear and, like, put a pull-up over it.
I was still a little worried, so I did pull up on the plane.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if they give you a fight, because Sage has been fighting me. She doesn't like diapers.
She doesn't like underwear.
She doesn't like underwear, either. So
I don't blame her.
So I was like, you're gonna need a diaper. But she didn't pee.
No, they really did good.
She held her pee from when we left Cancun.
Yeah.
Until we got to Chicago. I was really worried about her. I was like, she hasn't peed.
No.
She's been drinking water. And then she just let it out.
Yeah, no, they were good.
Yeah, she slept a lot of the way.
I think those are the
Book during, if you can. If you know your kid is a solid napper.
Book during nap trip.
If you fly out at like 11 or 10, then by the time you get in the air, they're like, this is my nap time. And then they'll sleep most of the flight, if you're lucky. Mm-hmm. And if you use a sound machine, the airplane is a sound machine.
Oh, yeah, totally. 100%.
Also, I always bring my hatch with me, no matter where I go. I don't care. I don't care. It's this big. It's huge. It takes up a lot of room. Sleep is important.
Yes.
Anywhere we go.
If your kid is
I brought that shit with. Did you hear it down the hallway?
No. That house was made out of straight up fucking concrete and tile. I didn't hear shit. I literally could hear nothing in your room.
So were the beds.
Could you hear any? Yeah, the beds were shit.
They were made of concrete.
Anywhere in Mexico you go, they're made of concrete. That's all you get. But did you hear anything in my room? I heard nothing in your room. Mm-mm. Yeah, no. The house we stayed in was fabulous. I mean, it really was really. It was
amazing.
Nice.
I would stay there again.
Oh, 100%. It was great. But yeah, I think those are all good ones. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would say you definitely want to bring. Friends. Bring your kids' friends.
Bring your friends.
Bring your kids' friends. Bring your own friends. It's way more fun. I'm telling you.
It is. Because then you're not like sitting there with your
I'm not the sole entertainment. That's the problem. If I don't bring my kids' friends, I'm the sole entertainment.
They're gonna argue and they're gonna fight, but that's better.
They do that in real life while I'm here.
But that's what I'm saying.
Better in tropical paradise.
That's better. That's their problem, because I would rather deal with that than deal with them being mad at me and being like, why are we even here?
That's what I'm saying. I have to deal with that in real life anyways. Yeah. I'd rather deal with it in tropical paradise. And tell them to shut up because we're in tropical paradise. Which I did.
We yelled less in Mexico than we do in Illinois.
You know what's so funny is, I think that, like, go back to the Chapel Ronan statement, like, oh, all my friends with kids, like, they don't travel, they don't, like, they're
because
miserable.
They're trying to conform to something that does not fit their life because it's not supposed to.
And I'm sitting here, like, being a parent is really hard. Like, it's not, please don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Now, the older they get, the easier it gets. Now, I know when they become teenagers, I have nieces, it becomes harder again. But all things said and done, like, at the end of the day, being a parent is difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult. Mm-hmm. But when I'm in a tropical place and I am in a way happier place, less stress, I'm drinking fun cocktails, and my kid has someone else to play with, even when I yell at them, it is nothing like being here. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. Well, way easier. I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're in tropical paradise.
Because we work so much.
That's true.
In our society that, like, when we go on vacation, we're like, oh, thank God we're here. And if our children act the same way they do at home, which they do.
Yeah.
Because their life.
I feel like
don't
they're better though.
But yeah, but their lives don't have as much stress as ours do.
No,
so
100%.
When we go to escape,
yeah.
we're
and that's
going to escape
why we do
our
what we
lives,
do.
not them.
Because we don't want them to have to escape. They're there to just have fun.
That's why they're not. When you say, "Why are you grateful?" They don't understand.
No, they don't understand
that yet.
No,
but that's what you teach them. Be like, I just want you to let you know that like being here is very special.
Yes, not everybody gets to
not
go
everybody
on a vacation. Not everyone can afford that.
Some people can't even leave their town.
I like this one.
Which one? What number is it?
Number 12. People love to complain about traveling with kids. What's your response to that? I feel like that too. Like, our kids
Oh my
like,
God.
There's a reason why.
How could you travel with them? Listen, one, my family lives this way and that way. Two, if they didn't, I want to explore the world we live in because I could die tomorrow. Do I want to die tomorrow and be like, the only place I've ever seen is Illinois? Indiana? At least
Definitely
let me go
not.
to Ohio with my kids.
Yes.
And you know what, our 7, 8-year-olds, Ohio.
They would
love
that
it.
Shit. I was going to say, they would love that.
No, Forrest loves it.
Yeah.
My aunt lives in Ohio, and she lives in, like, rural Ohio, which is cool. But, like...
I feel like part of what drives this culture is like a clickbait to say, like, oh, it's so terrible to travel with kids. And then, like, everyone else, especially who doesn't have kids, jumps on that. And it's like...
Because they don't have kids.
They don't know. And again, like, having kids in general is not easy.
Wait. Question.
Yes.
If you were a 25-something,
yes.
you don't have kids, you don't ever want to have kids, would you rather travel by yourself or with your mom, who is willing to pay for everything when you get there, take you to dinner?
That's it.
You would.
You got it. You would. You're hands down. You're right.
I want my kids to feel comfortable and happy and want to be with me, and I want to
experience
the world with them.
That's how we're going to keep them. When our kids are 25, like, we're going to be booking trips and they're going to be coming with us with their spouses or their girlfriend, boyfriends, and that's, like, how you keep them around. And no, I'm with you. I think, honestly, like, I hate when people talk about how terrible it is traveling with kids because I feel like they had one-off experience or they traveled with their kid and their kid was 3 and it was the first time they ever traveled with them. And yeah, that's kind of hard for anyone. Like, if I was not on a plane until I was like 13, I took my nieces on their first plane ever, and they were like 16 and 19. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so...
Frequent flyer since I was 6?
Yeah. Her for the family, same, because I love to travel. And so, like, yeah, you're going to have harder times if you don't start early. It's going to be more difficult.
Even if it's just, like, a little road
trips. Yes.
Just, like, get out of where you are and...
Camping.
Go camping.
Camping
is cheap.
Yes. It's super cheap. We go 2 or 3 times a year.
Look what's close. There's always camping available in
Get a cheap tent and a blow-up mattress and stay at a camp resort. You'll pay like $40 to $60 per night, way cheaper than a hotel. Those ones all have a cabin where you make sure you look, but they should have a cabin that you can shower in, use the bathroom. You do a blow-up mattress, $50 from Walmart. You can get cheap tents. Do it. Do it with your kids. Do it early. Counts as travel, and they count it as travel.
Yeah, because they're not sleeping at home.
Yes.
That's what
My son would tell you, like, Mexico and Wisconsin Dells and our camping trips are the same.
No, wait, they're like, yeah, Mexico's great. When are we going to Cowboy Creek?
Cowboy Creek. And Cowboy Creek is, like, this place we found in Michigan that we take a lot of friends, and it's so much fun. But it's basically camping.
Yeah, it's basically camping. Like, it's not an island. It's not luxury. It's not sandy white beaches. We're on someone's property blowing off fireworks. And they're like, yeah.
Yes. All right, we've got 2 more. What's one piece of advice for parents who are nervous about traveling with their kids? Fuck what other people think.
Patience, preparation.
She's nice. Fuck what other people think.
Also,
stop worrying about what other people think and have a good time with your family.
Yeah.
And then patience and whatever else she said.
Have patience for yourself.
Yes.
And your children. don't
But I think
fuck
that comes
the people
with,
around you.
I think that's what comes with saying fuck other people.
Like,
if you don't care about what other people think, your patience gets bigger and bigger.
But wait,
I think part of it is society is we've ruined it.
But we have, because it all started with the children should be seen, not heard.
No, fuck that.
But yeah, definitely just take a deep breath. Put your focus on your little people and your spouse, if you have one. If not, it's your little people, you and your one little person, and go live your life.
Live your life. Don't let people on the internet scare you. Just relax.
Just us.
Prepare.
Don't
and
put
enjoy.
Patron in Cutwater.
Yes, it's delicious. Don't listen to Chappell Ronan and Call Her Daddy.
So
I like Call Her Daddy as a podcast. Don't get me wrong.
I think
but
Chappell Ronan.
She's a victim of the society we've set
No.
up.
I feel like how she spoke it
is what she's seen.
No, but that, I think it's also how people absorb it and re-spit it out.
Yes.
I feel like she's surrounded by people who are miserable in their parenthood.
Yes.
Because those people are not supported.
Yes, and they are worried about what everyone else thinks, so they don't leave their house with their kids.
So she's right in her own way. She's like, yeah,
they
are miserable.
No, like 100%. She feels
that's the raw.
that she sees them miserable. They are miserable because as a society, we set up a situation that if you have kids, you can't leave your house, you can't travel, it's no fun. All you have to do is worry about your screaming kids. Everybody's gonna yell at you if they do anything out wrong in public. So yeah, of course they all feel that way. It's not true.
If I saw anyone, you two, if we saw anyone in public, we saw
a mom?
No, we'd be like, fuck
off.
you. And we'd be
literally.
And then we'd take the woman's baby and be like, we will hold baby.
Yes.
Go get a margarita.
And fuck that other asshole.
Fuck that bitch.
Like, 100, listen.
Yes.
You see, we're on the same page, and that wasn't even on purpose. But it's true. But I think you're right. Like, I think in her own right, that's what she sees. I think
she's
all of the people she's
she
around.
Loves her friends.
Well, and they're in defense
and
because
she doesn't
they're
have
worried.
any kids. So she's like,
oh my God, that's terrible.
And
they're in defense because society is making them feel terrible. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's not true. And we all actually need to gather together and support each other more with the kids because that's the only thing that's going to change that culture.
I feel like I'm that weird mom person that's out in public and like, I'm very social. She's very social, but like...
I'm always like, with the kids and I'm like, I like your kid. And people are always like, and I'm like, I'm not trying to steal your kid. I just like them. I don't have mine with me.
And I'm like, do you want me to like walk your child? Do you want me to go get a drink? And I'm like, are you good? What do you need? If I see a mom, like, she's holding a baby, she's got a toddler, the toddler needs to go to the bathroom, and they need to go in the women's room, like, do you want me to stand outside the door and hold this one? I will. And I feel like that scares people, though, because people are...
Well, we did the whole milk carton thing.
We're afraid of people stealing babies.
Yes.
I've done this at the zoo, where I've seen a mom, and she's, like, wearing
a baby.
One baby, and she has an older, like, not an older kid, but, like 5,
6-ish,
and then, like, a 2-year-old, and she's by herself. And the one's got to go to the bathroom, she's got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, just sitting there, I'm like, do you want me to help you? I will. And she's like, no. And I'm like,
it's easier if
I'm
we
like,
have
if
kids.
I was like,
they don't get weird.
And I could tell she was, like, nervous because maybe I make people feel nervous. Certain people, I was like, you can take my phone. And I will stand outside of wherever you need me to, and I will watch your children.
She's like the nicest person.
I've been a nanny for 7 years.
And like the nicest person with babies. We have one last question.
14.
If money and logistics weren't an issue, where's your dream trip you'd take with your family? I know yours.
Logistics as in like time?
Yeah.
What do you think you know mine?
Yes.
What is it?
Tokyo. I do. See, I know it. And
we're
our
gonna
families,
go.
It's just a straight 12-hour flight, and our girls are still just a little bit too young.
I say like 2 years.
I would say 5 to 7, I think, is when you could take like a 12-hour flight and not have to like do a lot of work. Can you do it earlier? Yes, but it would take a lot of work, and like you couldn't sleep on it. I travel a lot. She knows this. There is not a lot that gives me anxiety. Turns out, fishing boats in the middle of the ocean
are they worse than
during wind also give me anxiety. No, but close. Literally there's like nothing that makes me anxious except for a dirty house, I can't handle a dirty house. Like, there's something, but I cannot.
Me neither, but I give in.
See, I cannot, and
as long as there's no food rotting anywhere.
Yeah, I like the cleanliness and the picking up. Like, I'm a little OCD in that, so I would say dirty house is number one. Number two is flying. It's something about someone's driving me. I don't know them. I've never seen them.
You can ask to go in the cockpit.
It's not. I don't. But I still don't know them.
You
like,
should.
I don't like that. And then I'm like in a tin can, like thousands of people. I just don't love that. And then it turns out I feel the same way about these boats that are like doing this in these big waves of the guy up on the top of the fishing boat that I don't know. So like I just don't like being in sketchy driving situations where I don't know the person driving. It's just not my thing. So for me, anything over a like 5-hour flight, I like probably need a Xanax, and I can't take a Xanax and take care of my children. It's like I would not do. Some people
where
do.
Would you go?
Good for you. Not for me. So Japan, Tokyo is on my list as well. We're gonna do that probably in the next 3 to 5 years, depending on my career. We're going with our kids. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I would love, for me personally, I want to go to Greece very bad. Yeah. And I want to take my kids, yes. Well, I've been to Italy, but I would like to take Deidre. And honestly, the only thing that's holding me back from all of that is the flight time, because they're very long flights.
So long.
And I think another hashtag tip for
they went
traveling.
to Italy last year with their son.
Yeah, but he was like 11 or 12. Yeah. Like, hashtag big thing is watching the amount of travel time in single travel time. So like we did Isla, like it's a 12 to 13 hour travel day, but that's with like the drive to the airport, sitting at the airport, flying.
We have scenery change.
Yes.
Flying
straight on a flight.
Over the pond.
Yes. I think up to 4, you're in that like 4 to 5 hour range as max. You could probably get away with 6. If you have to for family, you can do more. It's just a lot of work. And I like vacation. I try to limit my work on vacation. And so like, I think as they get older, like Bryson and Forrest now at 7 and 8, we could easily do Japan. I really think we could at 7 and 8 do a 12-hour flight with the two of them. And I think we would have zero. Our daughters, on the other hand, no. It's not happening.
And also, like, I feel like for me, I'm like, we could do those things hypothetically. Mm-hmm. But because we have 2 of them, I feel like keeping it even and fair is like my biggest thing.
Well, I'm not going to go without my daughter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like, but I also want them
to enjoy it as much.
And remember it.
Yes.
So remembering it is the hardest part for me, because I'm like, I feel like our daughters won't remember the Isla trip together. They'll have pictures and they'll be like, oh my God, yeah.
Well, no, we're going to go
again. They might
now.
have like a weird like.
But we're going to go again.
But that's something, it's reachable, right?
Yes.
It's a 3.5 hour flight.
Yes.
It's a 6 hour day total.
So my place, if nothing was an issue, I would love to do like Southeast Asia. So like
we could teleport.
Thailand, Bali. Those are places I really want to go that I think the kids would have a really good time. And then I also have to say Brazil. So I shared, my wife and I went because of my work trip, and we only went for 4 days, like our portion in Rio, and then I had to do my work part. That was like 9 days in the middle of nowhere, Brazil. But we were both like totally kind of mortified that Brazil wasn't higher on our list, because we had so much fun in Rio. It was awesome. Now it's a 15-hour direct flight from us. So it's farther than Japan. But I would say like Rio, Bali, those are areas that are really far that I think would be really kid-friendly. And from what I've heard and read, they're really kid-friendly. So like, we're doing them. Just
I would love to go to Brazil.
Our kids
my
get a little
neighbor's
older.
from Brazil.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's nice. Tokyo, Japan, Brazil. I do want to go to Greece, but I kind of want to go to Greece as an adult, like by myself. Like I have a list of places that I want to go to, like, for me.
I think Greece would be better if the kids were older, because we would have to like
I want to travel with my kids, but I also want to travel with my husband.
It's true. I mean, Deer and I obviously have gotten a couple opportunities for like work trips and stuff. Yep. And that's been like really, really
Eric
great.
gets to go to Vegas, which
Deidre did.
It's funny because we fly to Vegas to go see our family.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh.
All right. Do we have any last words before we close out this episode?
Patience, preparation.
Giving less shits.
Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck?
Just go.
I love
if you
that.
want to do it, figure it out. Find a way.
Yes.
Just do it.
Let's cheers to little jet setters and little road trippers.
Yes. Road trips
if you don't have the money, road trips and camping is just as good.
There's also a website to figure out how much it costs to drive from here to there in gas.
Love it.
With current gas prices.
We'll try to tag it for you guys. So cheers to little jet setters and road trippers. Enjoy it. Don't let Chapel Ronan and the fucking caller daddy things of the world.
Don't let the people that
scare
convinced
you.
Chapel Ronan that having kids was terrible.
Yes, agreed.
Her friends. Her friends.
But that's
were
society
convinced.
and social media in general.
Don't let
social media
and
social media
yeah
convince you that it's a bad idea to have kids or to travel with them. It's
if
not.
you don't want to have kids and you know you don't want to have kids,
Fine.
I respect that.
Fine.
If you have kids, don't accept that you can't do shit with them.
Yes,
because of
don't
society.
Don't not have kids because you're worried that you won't be able to do anything fun. It's not true.
It's not true. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Cheers. Woohoo! Thank you guys again for coming for episode 11 for Beach Babes, Jet Setters, and Road Trippers now. We really appreciate you. Take 4 Talk More. Please come join us next week for episode 12.
12?
I can't believe that. It's crazy.
Is that like 4 weeks? Or is that...
No, 12 is like 3
8 weeks?
No, 3 months. 12 is 12 weeks.
Tequila.
To Cutwater. Love it.
Tequila.
So, episode 12. Influenced. The weirdest stuff we bought because the internet told us to. Remember when we used to be influenced by Delia's catalogs and Wet Seal window mannequins? The days are gone. But now it's TikTok girlies, Linktrees, and Amazon storefronts. In the next episode, we're going to dive into the weirdest, most impulsive, and occasionally life-changing things we've bought because social media told us to. From all things crazy to waffle makers, this is for the emotionally influenced and the financially unstable.
So,
we're going to hit it.
Grab your Stanley Cup.
Grab your Stanley Cup and join us next week for episode 12. Take 4, talk more. Thank you guys.
Cheers. It doesn't sound great when you cheers a Stanley Cup.
I know. But